In this video, I'm going to help you get started in designing your V2 of your life and a weekly rhythm that will help move you out of the fogginess and into your future without feeling like you're compromising your calling. If you've left a role that felt like it defined you, the temptation is to rebuild what you had, to reestablish the same patterns, the same pace, just in a new place. We think, if I can just get moving again, I'll feel normal. But what happens is we keep the same speed and we carry the same expectations, but end up feeling like we're drowning in the shallow end. Because clarity doesn't come from filling your calendar. It comes actually when you slow down, face the truth, and stop trying to rebuild version 1 of what existed previously. After 18 years in ministry and walking leaders through this in-between, I've seen over and over that a healthy V2 isn't this grand reinvention. It's a series of small, honest decisions that are repeated over time. And so that's why we're going to create instead of rebuild. We're going to retire and let go of the past. We're going to surface who you are at the core and uncover your values and reimagine with tiny small tests what can become your next chapter. Okay, so the first step is we're going to retire what is not working. When the old pace follows you into a new season, it creates that low hum of pressure. And you start feeling like you should be further along by now. But most of the time, you're actually not behind. You're right where you need to be. You're just dragging V1 into V2. And so we're going to make a retire list. What is no longer working for you? And you're going to name 3 things. What will you pause for the next 30 days? And then circle 1 or 2 of those things that you write down. Then tell someone, or even come back here to the comments, hey, I'm naming this thing and it's not working in this season. For the next month, I'm pausing, whatever it might be, to make room for what's next. Can you check in with me on, and you give a date? Here's why this matters. Slowing down is not failure. It's actually creating oxygen for you to breathe. You need to sink enough and to slow down just enough below the surface. If you don't retire old patterns, your future has nowhere to go next. But you don't stop here. Empty space without direction will fill fast with random opportunities, with distractions, or the first thing that kind of flatters your ego. If you stop here, that empty space will get filled with random, unaligned opportunities. And that's how you mix up rebuilding V1 instead of creating V2. Next, you need to retain. Okay, so the second thing is you need to retain identity and values. The blocker in transition isn't a lack of options. It's this fog of identity. Who am I without that title, without that role, without that job, without that relationship? And so we're going to start with a 5x5 values audit. Write 5 identity truths. And I want you to think who before what. Example, because of my faith, one might be beloved. My worth isn't tied to my output. Or I'm known. My story makes sense to God even when it doesn't to others or even to myself. There's purpose. There's meaningful work ahead that fits who I'm becoming. So this is what I mean. Focus on who, not on what. Who are you aside from what you do? Next, I want you to write core values that come from this place of who rather than what. What values do you want more of in your work and life? For example, mine are freedom, trustworthiness, curiosity, growth, and genuineness. So this means for each new opportunity or possibility, you want to start asking and thinking through this lens. Does this opportunity expand or limit my top values? Does this align with who I'm becoming? So you'll use the values to check when you're talking to people, partners, peers, and considering new opportunities. And so it might look something like this as you're considering it. I know for me, these values are non-negotiable. Does this role expand those or prevent them from being experienced and lived into? You can also anchor these values with simple, small practices. At the end of the day, where did I feel most alive? Where did I feel drained? What is one step tomorrow that will help expand these values in my life? And if you want to go even further in this exploration, take a short walk to let your mind reset. Take 5 minutes to journal and note where you felt most alive and most drained. Because when you know who you are and what you value, decisions become easier to make. You're no longer chasing what you think you should want, but instead, you're beginning to say yes to alignment. Hey friend, let me ask you something. Chances are you've stepped out of ministry, you're in a career transition, or you're wrestling with what's next. And if you're honest, it all feels a bit disorienting. Here's what I want you to hear. Calling isn't a moment, it is momentum. It isn't about chasing this one big opportunity that will finally validate you. It's about learning to carry your calling across every season. Your calling doesn't change, but you will. The in-between is not a wasted time. It's actually where you're remade. And if you want a guide for this journey, I'd be honored to walk with you inside my coaching program. We'll clarify what's really changing for you, uncover what remains unshakable, and help you step into your next season with more clarity and confidence. If that resonates, I want you to apply today. The link is in the description. Go there, fill out the form, and if it's a good fit, we'll walk through this next season together. Okay, so now we need to bring it all together with the next step, which is reimagining. And it's in this phase that you're going to reimagine with tiny bets. As you're creating V2, it's not this one giant leap type of thing. You are prototyping. You are micro experimenting. And this is where the next chapter begins to take shape. So here are some ways that you could literally create like a V2 lab over the next 3 months in your life. These are ideas, things that you can test, things that you can try on and see how it fits. For example, you could shadow. You could sit in on a meeting or a role that you're curious about. You could create a one-page resource or a mini curriculum that explores something that you could teach someone else. You could find ways to serve. Offer a quick win to a team that you admire. You could perform an audit, create a resource list, or a process of improvements. You could interview somebody. Ask someone in your desired space that you want to explore what's surprising, obvious, or underrated about the role that you're in. You should welcome accountability. Add an ally in this process. Text them and let them know, hey, I'm testing whatever it is that you're testing this week. Can I DM you whatever I create by Friday? And then I want you to track 4 things. Your learnings, your energy signals, what seems to be giving life versus what is draining, the relationships that you're forming, and the 4th thing is just take note of who is noticing. Who is someone who has seen your progress or the momentum that you are making? So in this season, you're going to repeat this process. Remember, you are testing things out. Over time, these repetitions will begin to reveal the through line between who you are, what you value, and where you feel most alive. Hey, if you are in the in-between, you're not late. I think you're actually right on time. Don't rebuild V1 of your life. Instead, design V2 with value-aligned steps that create a future that you actually want to live and lean into. Hey, if you're still listening right now, I'm so grateful. And if you know this message is for you, don't wait. Head to the application link in the description and let's walk through the in-between together. Remember, calling isn't a moment, it is momentum. Your calling doesn't change, you do. Apply today and let's get started.